Wow. I actually feel like a piece of shit for thinking that Mr. Chocolate betrayed Tekadon in last week's episode. So he died. Damn. You know, the more I look at it, this is looking like we're not going to get a good ending for Gundam, Iron-Blooded Orphans Season 2. Now, don't get me wrong, when I say not get a good ending, I'm not saying we're going to get a shitty fucking terrible ending. I'm just saying a good ending as in we're not going to get a happy ending. It's going to be a very sad and tragic conclusion because from what I am seeing here, it looks like all the bad guys are winning. And if that does happen, I gotta admit, I'm going to be salty. But at the same time, I can live with it because I don't see a lot of shows nowadays want to take that path. So, yeah. Regardless, though, I swear if Eok doesn't die in next week's episode, if Eok does not die, I'm gonna, that man, I would be so mad if that man is not dead in next week's episode, because you're telling me fucking our main character on Gallhorn's side now has just died, Mr. Chocolate, Maki, and then we have Orga die in last week's episode, most likely Akihiro and Mika and all of them are gonna die in next week's episode, and you're telling me Eok, this man is gonna survive. Just please don't let this happen. Please don't. But the more I look at the show, the more it looks like it's gearing up for a bad conclusion. Like it's gearing up for that tragic ending. Like Tekadon loses, everything is GG, everybody is lost, and that's pretty much it. Now there is a slight ray of hope with this episode for a possibility of a good conclusion, and that falls on Gali Gali. What I'm getting at is the entire fight / combo with Mr. Chocolate and Gali Gali holds some meaning here, and wait possibly for the epilogue of this series. Now, one of the big plots going on between these two characters is that, you know, in Season 1, you had to where Mr. Chocolate was trying to kill Mr. Gali Gali, and Gali Gali somehow survived, and then, you know, he held this aggression and rage towards him throughout the entirety of Season 2, and he wanted, you know, Mr. Chocolate Maki to look at him as a friend, look at him as a, you know, an actual human, instead of looking at him like he's nothing, like he's not even there, looking past him. And that was the entire point of why he left, you know, his Gundam frame and saw, you know, Mr. Chocolate in the middle of the passageway, and he faced him face to face while they were both there in person, instead of being in Gundam frames. He faced him like an actual human being, which holds a lot of weight and meaning there. But the big point of that was to find out what was going on. Like, why did you go so far to do this? But also, have you never really considered me a friend? Did you never look at me and all that? He was just pretty much trying to deny everything that was Mr. Chocolate and what was wrong with him. While, you know, Maki, he was like, hey, you know, like, I haven't actually been avoiding you. I just been trying to deny it, even though you really are my friend. And this combo, it's kind of sad because this combo is happening at a time to where it's too late. We have both of these characters trying to express their feelings for each other. You know, Gali Gali and Chocolate Man, they're talking to each other and they're explaining how they feel about each other. And as we know, Chocolate, he's dying and all that. And because of this, he no longer can, you know, be friends with him ever again. Like, he can't continue to talk with him, you know, have fun times with him ever again, because this is the final time he's going to get to talk with him since he was dying right then and there. And it's kind of sad that he has to be on his deathbed to be able to even talk to Gali and allow Gali to understand what he truly felt this entire time, and how he did care about, you know, his wife, how he did have feelings for her and he didn't want her to get hurt. But on top of that, though, how he did care for him as a friend, and he wasn't trying to avoid him, he just tried to look away, because if he continued to be friends with him, it would throw off his goals of what he wanted to accomplish, because he was such a good person, such a good friend, that it caused it to where his actual goals wavered, to where he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to go that far, and because they were such an obstacle for him, he had to figure out a way to get rid of them. He knew what he was doing a very despicable act, he was doing a very evil deed, but he had to get rid of them, because if they were still there, it would have made it to where he wouldn't be 100% for his ideals, what he wanted to accomplish, which I can understand that. I completely understand why he would do something like that, and then when he finally states, like, you have been my friend this entire time, I've just been trying to look away, and Gali realizes this, it just hits you like, damn, how these two are just having this combo, and they're realizing they should have just sat down and talked about this instead of trying to ignore it and just trying to kill each other the entire time, which is the tragedy of Gundam. So what I'm getting at is, when it comes to the nice little ray of hope for, the possible future of a good ending, is the final combo between Chocolate and Golly. What I'm getting at is because of Chocolate's death, I'm going to assume that Golly might carry the legacy that Mr. Chocolate wanted to, kind of come about, like what he wanted to accomplish with Gallahorn. Because you got to think about it like this: what has been driving Golly throughout the entirety of Season 2 and Season 1? Okay, Season 1, he was following Mr. Chocolate down his entire path. He would have followed him. He probably would have definitely followed him if he would have confronted him about it. And then eventually he was forced to try to kill him. Now, Golly, obviously very pissed off because he felt betrayed, he wanted to face Mr. Chocolate face to face as a human being, and which caused the conflict in this episode. And now that he's finally taken down the person that, was causing him to continue moving forward, the focus of his revenge and continue on living, now that he's gone, what does he have now? Nothing. And I feel like now that he has seen what, Rustle has done, what he's been doing, how shady he is, how evil he is, what he's been doing and all that to get what he wants, I'm going to assume that Golly is going to focus all of his attention onto him for he can actually change Gallahorn for keeps. So like I said, I feel like that's kind of what that scene was for, just letting us know that Golly is going to, continue the legacy of Mr. Chocolate. Now, enough with that. Let's talk about the Hush scene. So, Hush dies. I'm going to be completely honest here, okay? I don't really care much about Hush's character. I really don't. I truthfully do not really care much. I mean, I understand his role, what he was doing for Mika, how he wanted to be like Mika, he wanted to be strong and all that. I understand that. I wasn't emotionally attached to him. And I guess I'm glad I wasn't, because, he died in this episode, which I expect pretty much any character to die thanks to Orga's death in, last week's episode. But Hush dies, and I want to be honest with you, his character, I don't really understand, what was the true in-game goal of his character? What was the conclusion? I mean, I know what he wanted, but he didn't really serve much purpose at all in the grand scheme of things with his death. The only main thing he really did that was truly helpful now was, helping, Mika around the entirety of the place, picking him up and carrying him. That was really the only thing that Hush was really used for. So I'm just wondering, what was the true purpose of his character? What was he really for? Now, like I said, I don't truly understand. If anyone knows better than I do, please let me know in the comments below. But I truly just do not understand what the main point of his character was, because it seems truly pointless. I mean, he died, he, wanted to be like Mika, he didn't become like him and all that, and then he died kind of a tragic death. And also, he was handicapped in a way because he couldn't fight to his full potential because of the mech he was in. I mean, you gotta remember what he said in this episode. He's like, this, mech is not built to be able to fight like this in close quarters combat, and that's what caused his death in the first place. So he didn't die thanks to him having lack of strength, he died to just, being handicapped by the robot. But regardless, though, I'm still questioning what was the point of his character. I mean, I know it might reflect in saying how tragic lives can be throughout the series and how war is. I mean, you can have goals that might not ever get, accomplished because of just how war is and how fighting is. You just die like that. I mean, maybe that's what that's trying to emphasize there, that, you could just die like nothing, and nobody will ever know, and, you'll never get your goal accomplished or whatever that you wanted, because you could just die so quickly. Maybe that's what that's trying to emphasize, but I have really no idea. Regardless, though, Hush died, and yeah. Now, Mika, I'm going to assume, as I've already said, the man is dead. The man is a dead man walking. He is a straight-up dead man walking. Orga's death, Chocolate's death, it's obvious this man dead now. If he survives, I'm not even gonna lie, I want to be extremely shocked. I will be really shocked. I will be beyond amazed. But it seems like Mika is going to be going up against Julieta in next week's episode, judging by how she's going to the ground. So Mika versus Julieta in next week's episode. Now, this is obviously a rematch. Mika most likely has a lot of aggression and anger towards her because of what happened, with, Shino and how he died and couple episodes back. So when you figure out like this, most likely Mika might die to her, which I still call bullshit if he does die to her, because I just don't think Mika would lose in a 1v1 against her if he went all out. I just don't think he would. But I have no idea. Regardless, though, episode of Gundam this week, it was a good episode. It just, damn, it's setting up for that bad end, like, you know, that tragic conclusion of the series. And I mean, we just got to see where it's going to go. If I'm correct, next week's episode is the finale. It is the finale of Iron-Blooded Orphans. So, yeah, it's coming to a close very soon. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.